Good morning everybody, my name is Rajshree Lakhani and today we are going to start with the new topic of social whose name is our economic system. Now chapter name is and chapter number 9 and the chapter name is our economic system. Now this chapter is related to the civics topic. Now in this particular chapter, what the particular things, what the particular products are coming in which particular way. Some products we are directly using as a raw material, some of the products that need a finished way, and some of the products are always need that should be transported from one place to another and we are getting from the market. So in this particular chapter we are going to study first of all about the three sectors which is being divided into three parts, in which we are going to see that which particular product in which particular way we are getting from the nature or from the market. Now among the three sectors, the first sector is the primary sector, the second that is secondary sector, and the third that is the service sector. In among these three sectors, let us study first of the primary sector. Some of the products, certain resources which we are directly getting from the nature and always used by us. That is, for example, food grains, fruits and vegetables that we are getting from the nature directly and we are using without any finished product, that is known as the primary sector. We obtain, for example, we obtain wood, medicinal plants, gum, etc. from the forest, and milk, meat, bones and leather from the animal. So in the primary sector, the particular products which we are getting directly from the nature, animal, plants or whosoever we are getting directly, that is known as the primary sector. Now let us study about the secondary sector. It is also known as manufacturing sector. Certain primary products are such that it has to be processed into a finished product to be of any use to us. Many of the products, primary sector products, we are directly getting from the nature and we are using, that is fruits, vegetables, pulses, cereals, that we are milk, meat, bones, we are getting directly from the nature. We don't have to need any finished product, that is the secondary sector, but some of the products are there which we are not getting direct. We are just that particular product need a finished way, that is known as the secondary sector. For example, for the secondary sector are manufacturing cotton textile from cotton. The cotton which is being grown in the particular field that needs, we cannot use directly the cotton plant to manufacture our own clothes, that need a finished product in the factory. Making jaggery and sugar from sugarcane. The sugarcane which we are using, from that sugarcane we can directly make the jaggery and sugar. They need a finished product in the factory. Making bricks from the soil, and many of the examples are there which need a finished product that we are getting from the nature, but that need a finished way to be completed, and then we are using that particular product, that is known as the secondary sector. Now the third one, that is service sector. Primary and the secondary sectors cannot function without this sector. The raw material or finished product have to be transported to various manufacturing units or traders, for which various means of transportations and infrastructure, that is airways, roadways, railways, waterways are being used to transport any of the raw material or finished product from one place to another. So without this service sector, primary sector or secondary sector is of no use. To just transport one product, either it is a raw material or a finished product that need a transportation of the goods from one place to another, that is known as the service sector. So if there is no service sector, the primary sector or secondary sector cannot be worked out. For example, letters, telecommunication, ATM call centers, soft designing, they all are the example of this service sector. To show any of the product to any of the trader, the customer, there is a need of the telecommunication letters, having a communication with one another. So without the primary sector, that is the raw material which we are getting directly from the nature. Secondary sector, that is a material which need a finished product. Without the finished product, we are not using that. And in the service sector, without this service sector, the primary sector or secondary sector cannot work out. That is known as the service sector. Now let us study about the ownership. Already we have studied about the sector, the primary sector, the service sector and the secondary sector. Now let us study about the ownership. Now basis of ownerships are being divided into four parts, that is government ownership, private ownership, joint ownership and cooperative ownership. Now first of all, let us study about the government ownership. What is government ownership? The industries which are owned by the government and run under the policies of the government only are known as the government ownership, where all the rules and regulations are of the government only and the government is the responsible person to carry out the work, that is known as the government ownership. Example for this government ownership are Birla Steel Plant, Bharat Heavy Electricals Limited, that is BHEL. They all are the example of the government ownership. Now let us study about the next ownership, that is private ownership. The industries which are owned and run by private owners are termed as private sector or private ownership. Now here, these are the people, they don't need the particular help of the government and they themselves are running their factories or the business. They are known as the private ownership. For example, Tata Iron and Steel Company Limited, that is Tesco, Reliance, Torrent, Cadilla, they all are the example. One or more than two people are handling that particular factory, but there is no part or any contribution of the government. They are known as the private ownership. Now let us study next about the joint sector. Already we have covered the 2 points, that is government and private. Now let us study about the joint sector. Now what is joint sector? There are certain limitations to public sector units, that is the government sector. Generally, we find less dedication and commitment towards work in public sector units. To control this and to generate sufficient amount of required capital, the private sector unit are asked to join the public sector units. In this way, the government is a particular part who is calling the private sector to join with them, and together the government and the private sector are joining together and working together, because in this particular joint sector, most probably in the government sectors, many of the people are there who are not having the dedication and commitment towards their work. To have the smooth working of the sector, government sector, these people, the government is asking to the private sector to join, to have the joining work together, and that is known as the joint sector. But along with this two sector, that is the government sector and the private sector, both are working together, but most probably all the most powerful in this particular joint sector, the government enjoys a greater control, because as the private sectors are being called out, it is being just said that government is the only part most probably enjoys the greater control over the joint sector. Now let us study about the next sector, that is the fourth sector, that is cooperative sector. There are many people in the country who are not economically economically very sound. They are not so much rich. They are not in the condition to start their own small or cottage industry. So this unit, a group of the people, they are coming together and forming one particular sector that is known as the cooperative sector. This unit that has started with the cooperation of the group of people that is known, there is not a single person or a particular government is working out, but suppose one person is not economically that much powerful to start a factory, so he or she is going to call some of the group of the people who are economically sound, and together they are forming the cooperative sector in which all are going to invest, and the particular things which they are getting a profit, then that will be distributed among that particular people. If they are facing the loss, then that particular loss is also being distributed among the people that is known as the cooperative sector. For example, sugar mills, the dairy farms, they are the example of the cooperative sector where not a single person but a group of the people are joining and working, that is known as the cooperative sector. Now let us study about the organized sector and unorganized sector. In the organized sector, the particular points which have the fixed particular, we can say it is a surety job, and this is not a surety job. In the organized sector, here there is a fixed time for working. Whosoever is working in the organized sector, suppose from 8 o'clock he or she is going to work, at 5 o'clock or 2 o'clock, what time is fixed by the particular sector, during that time they have to leave, during that time they have to enter their job, and a fixed time they have to leave from their job. That is coming in the organized sector. Every end of the month, suppose the month is of 30 days, 31 days, at the end of the month they are always getting their salary, eligible for the benefits of the pension. After the retirement, this particular people who are the part of the organized sector, they are getting, apart from the salary, they are getting different type of benefits from the sector. Receives medical allowance whensoever there is a need, apart from their salary, whenever that particular person, he or she is becoming ill or sick, they are getting the facility of the money from their own factory or the sector, that is the medical allowance, apart from the salary. Get salary for the Sunday too. Now this particular people, as they are working for, there are 7 days in a week, but most probably they are working for 6 days only. Sunday is the holiday. So if during whole month they are getting salary for the Sundays, for the national holidays, for the regional holidays. So these are the particular benefits to the organized sector. Apart from that, for the surety of the particular person, the employee, they are getting the appointment letter with the rules and regulations from their own factory. So these are the particular points which are having in the organized sector. Now let us move towards the unorganized sector. In this unorganized sector, there is no things fixed. For example, do not have a fixed time for working. In the organized sector, we have studied about that there is a fixed time of an employee to work in that particular timing. But here, no time for any of the employee to have the fixed timing to come and to go. Now they are just getting the salary for the daily wages. Most probably, they are getting the salary for the daily wages. Most probably what they are working on, that only they are having the particular daily wages. Like here, they are getting the salary for the whole month. What they are working every day, they are getting the salary for their work. Do not get other benefit like this. People, the particular person who is working in the organized sector, they are getting the benefits apart from the salary, but they are not getting any of the benefits. Do not get medical allowance. Here, these people people are getting most probably along with the salary getting the medical allowance. If they are falling ill, they are not getting the medical allowance. Do not get salary for the holidays. Now here, these people in the organized sector, they are getting the salary for the Sundays, the holidays, the public holidays they are getting. But these people, the unorganized sector people, they are not getting salary for the holidays. Now for their surety, they are not getting any of the appointment letter. If their master, if their main person is not getting or satisfied with the work of that particular employee, he or she can just throw that person out of the job on the particular day or the next day. So by this particular, so most probably the organized sector is the safest sector for the person who are getting the employment. Here most probably in all the things there is no surety for any of the employee. So already we have discussed about the organized and the unorganized sector. Now let us study about the economic liberalization. During the early ages when the Portuguese, Dutch, French, Britishers came to our country India, we don't have any government, any person to handle our whole nation. Just the other were coming and trading and ruling in our country India. So when the Britishers, after more than 200 years, went from our country India, we started the democratic government for the people, by the people and to the people. And during the early ages when the Britishers were in our country India, they, for importing and exporting of the goods from our country India, they were not paying the taxes. Why? They were just buying the particular products at a very cheapest price from our country India, and the finished product was always being done in the factories of England. But in the Indian market, we have the particular we can say the person, the merchant, whosoever Indian merchant has to pay the tax. 80% taxes we were paying, the Indian merchants were paying to just sell their product in the market. So when the Britishers moved from our country India, we started just having the economic liberalization. What are the points? Economic liberalization means to have some of the benefits to the merchants, to the particular shopkeepers or the sellers, so that they can, with their profits, they can grow more and more economic system of our country India. Now here the government has brought about certain changes in its economic policies so as to maintain its pace with the developing world and make India a developed nation. Now still also we are in the category of the developing nation, not the developed nation. There are some we can say surety given by the government. We are getting nowadays loans and many of the facilities from the government to just sustain ourselves, to stand with the other country competition for the particular selling of the things. In accordance, the policy of liberalization was adopted in the year 1991. Now here, certain regulations were removed. Many of the particular for manufacturing and trading, the taxes which were being started by the Britishers, that was completely removed with the particularly liberalization policy in our country India. Duties and the taxes relaxations on import and export of the goods were announced. Some of the fixed table is being made by the government for the complete getting of the taxes from the sellers or the particular people who are producing, so that slowly and gradually with this economic liberalization we are able to adopt more and more. Our market, our Indian market is slowly and gradually developing day by day, and the reason behind we are getting the loans. Apart from getting the loans, we are having many of the facilities to pay less taxes. When the Britishers were in our country India, we were getting great loss and not having the profit. But now with the help of the government, we are achieving more and more, greater and greater profit, and we are developing ourselves to be in the competition of the developed nations. Now let us study about the privatization. After the independence, we already all are familiar that we got independence on 15th August 1947. From the year 1857 to 1947, Britishers came to our country India and they started ruling in our country India for 90 years. They have just destroyed our economic base of our country India. So after the independence, when they just went from our country India, the privatization, therefore why there was a need of privatization in our country India. Now let us see the reason. After the independence, many public sector, that is the government sector, was started by the government of India with the peasants. Already our economic system of our country India was completely zero when Britishers were being just moved from our country India. So after the independence, the government decided to start the factories, the sector in a public way with a passage of time. With the passage of time, these sectors made less profit and just achieved more and more loss. Already the economic system in our country India was zero. So during that time we were not getting that much profit, but we were achieving more and more loss. Many sectors had to be closed down for this reason. As they were not getting the profit and achieving the loss, there was a reason. This was the biggest reason for just closing the public sector in our country India. The workers being united, but the industry suffered big losses. The private sector started making more profits because in comparison with the public sector, the private sector was getting more and more chance to earn more and more money. And because of this reason, this was the circumstances motivated privatization. So government come to realize that instead of working alone, let us work together, and they just called out the private sector to have the working of the together. And because of that only, as the private sector comparing with the public sector, they were getting more and more profit, and to just get more and more profit to the public sector also, the private sector was being called out by the government and to work together. But as there was after the independence, the public sector was getting great loss. It encouraged the privatization in our country India. So already we have studied with the privatization. Now what is globalization? Globalization means the world becoming one, or countries coming, one or the other countries are coming together and working together. That is known as globalization. Due to the globalization, any country of the world can trade with another country easily. Due to the globalization, as we are the part of the UN and we are having many friendly relations with the other countries, many of the products we are importing in our country India, and many of the goods we are exporting to the another countries, and that is known as the globalization. It integrates the market along with the production units of various countries. The particular famous country, famous products from the other countries we are importing in our country India, and many of the precious things, many of the good products, precious products we are exporting to the other countries, and by this way we are maintaining the relation of the globalization. The WTO, that is World Trade Organization, established in the year 1995, CE is working towards promoting or fostering the globalization among not in the country India but all over the world. The particular relation with the other countries, exporting and importing of the goods, the precious goods from their country, precious goods from our country, which we are having the market relation, that is known as the globalization. Now let us study about the effects of the globalization. As we all are familiar that a single coin having the two sides, we are having the profit and the loss. In the same way for the globalization, we are having sometimes a great profit and sometimes we are facing a great loss. Now here, first of all, we are going to study about what are the benefits are being created due to the globalization. Employment opportunities have increased in the service sector for just exporting the primary and the secondary products from one part to the another part, not for the country India but to the other abroad countries. That particular service, many of the people due to the service sector, they are getting a chance for the employment in our country India, as the raw material or the finished products are being imported and exported from one place to the another place, or from one country to the another. There is a great opportunity for the employment in the service sector. Now many of the technological tools, for example phone, fax, mobile, email, internet, video conferencing, etc. are some of the revolutionary activities or tools which are being used by the people of our country India to have the communication of the product with the other countries. Now here, many of the multinational companies started projects in different other countries which have proved to be a profitable for the nation, as they are developing the factories, the plant in the other countries, but always it is going to improve the economic system of our country India. For example, the Tata Motors, Asian Paints, Parle, etc. they are exporting their commodities, that means the product, in the foreign countries. As they are exporting the particular products in the other countries, the always profit is in the pocket of the government, as this all companies are getting, as they are running, they are always paying the taxes and just having the benefit for the government. Now here, now the negative point. Most probably in a market, consumers get commodities of a very good quality at a low rate due to the competition. Most probably for an Indian market, most probably many of the products, other country products are coming in our country India, and they are being sold out in the Indian market at a very cheapest price, and because of that only many times the Indian products are not getting the benefit to be sold out and not getting the benefit. So already I have said you, as we are having the plus point, negative point to have the globalization in our country India is also there. For example, within a 1 year, the China made toys become very popular in the Indian market due to its attractive designs and along with the low price. So within a 1 year, the Indian market toys is completely facing the great loss due to the having of the China toys in our country India. So here we are ending with the topic of chapter number 9, that is our economic system or the particular. Now let us have short summary about the whole chapter. Now already we have studied about the particularly 3 sectors from which we are getting the product. That is the primary sector, the particular product which did not need a finished product directly from the nature. We are using that particular product, that is the raw material, that is known as the primary sector. The secondary sector, in which the particular product, the directly raw material we are not using, that need a finished product, that is known as the secondary sector. And the service sector, the primary and the secondary sector completely dependent on the service sector, that is the transportation of the goods from one place to another, to the market, to the other countries. The thing which is done, that is done by the service sector. Then we have studied about the 4 ownership, that is government ownership, private ownership, joint ownership and the cooperative ownership. In the government ownership, the particular factories which are being industries which are being run by the government. In the private sector, there is a particular one of the personality who is running the factories. In the joint sector, the government and the private sector, they both are working, that is known as the joint sector. While in the cooperative cooperative sector, a group of the people, as one of the person is not capable to run the industry, they are calling out or asking other people to join. That is known as the cooperative sector. Then we have studied about the organized sector and unorganized sector. In the organized sector, the job is completely in the surety form, while in unorganized sector, the job is not in a sure form. Then we have studied about the economic liberalization. Already when the Britishers were in our country India, in our Indian market, we have to pay a lots of taxes. But later on, when the Britishers moved from our country India, in the particular policy of liberalization in the year 1991, we have started with the policy to have the relaxation to the people who are doing the particular trade in our country India. Then we have studied about privatization. After the independence, there were the public sectors who started working in to form the factories in our country India, but slowly and gradually, as our economic system, economic phase was completely down during that time, they were facing a great loss. The public sector were facing a great loss, and because of that only the privatization started in our country India. Then the last topic we have studied about globalization. Globalization is a particular relation of the particular trade with the other countries. Their precious products, their famous products they are selling in our country India, and many of the famous products which we are having, the exporting of the goods to the other countries, that is known as globalization. In the globalization, there are some of the positive points and some are the negative points. So here I am ending my topic. Thank you and have a nice day.